Good morning, and we are in chapter 30 of ALMA, and we're going to talk a little bit about Korah, the Antichrist. And it came to pass after the people of Ammon were established in the land of Jershon, and also after the Lamanites were driven out of the land, and their dead were buried by the people of the land. Now, their dead were not numbered because of the greatness of their numbers. That must have been quite a battle. It says it's the worst one ever, but it's amazing. It's a short bit in their history, but it seems like it was a horrible time. At the same time, a great time because of all the things that had happened. Neither were the dead of the Nephites numbered, but it came to pass that after they had buried their dead, and also after the days of fasting and mourning and prayer, which would have been in the law of Moses, and it was in the 16th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi, there began to be continual peace throughout all the land. Yea, and the people did observe to keep the commandments of the Lord, and they were strict in observing the ordinances of God, according to the law of Moses. So I noticed there that there's two things that they're doing. They're observing to keep the commandments of God, which is probably, as you're saying, the 10 Commandments and the commandments given by Moses and the other prophets. But they were also strict to observe the ordinances of God according to the law of Moses. So commandments and ordinances are different. You keep the commandments and then you do the ordinances. So we try to keep the commandments, and then we go and become baptized. And we keep the commandments, and we go and partake of the sacrament. We keep the commandments, and we go and to the temple and do ordinances there. For they were taught to keep the law of Moses until it should be fulfilled. Thus the people did have no disturbances in all the 16th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi. Yay! They got one year in. And it came to pass that in the commencement of the 17th year of the reign of judges, there was continual peace. But it came to pass that in the 17th year there came a man in the land of Zarahemla, and he was Antichrist. Now we talked about anti as the anti-Nephi-Lehis, meaning for Nephi and Lehi. And this says Antichrist, and I mentioned about, well, I said it was Hebrew, but it's actually ancient Egyptian. That was the whatever the root of anti is to mean for something, but in this sense, the difference is that was a name. You had the king anti-Nephi-Lehi, you had the people anti-Nephi-Lehi. This is not a name, it is a description. And how are you going to describe an antichrist without calling them an antichrist? And so I think that's probably why it's the way it is. Because it wouldn't have been Greek, but it's just simply having the description that is there, that he was against Christ. For he began to preach unto the people against the prophecies which had been spoken of by the prophets concerning the coming of Christ. Now there was no law against a man's belief, for it was strictly contrary to the commandments of God that there should be a law which should bring men on unequal grounds. For thus saith the Scripture, Choose ye this day whom ye will serve. Now if a man desired to serve God, it was his privilege, or rather, if he believed in God, it was his privilege to serve him. But if he did not believe in him, there was no law to punish him. And I believe that's the true today. In fact, you can join the church and not believe in God if you really want to. But it's all set up to be able to serve him, you know. So it'd be harder to do that if you don't believe in God. But if he murdered, he was punished unto death, and if he robbed, he was punished, and if he stole, he was also punished, and if he committed adultery, he was also punished. Yea, for all this wickedness they were punished. Now there was a law that men should be judged according to their crimes. Nevertheless, there was no law against a man's belief. Therefore, a man was punished only for the crimes which he had done. Therefore, all men were on equal grounds. And this Antichrist, whose name was Korihor, and the law could have no hold upon him. Now, notice Korihor is not the same order as the Nehors, and we will see a few differences in what he says, but there is a lot of similarities as well. For one thing, I think Nehor was preaching priestcraft. Korihor's saying there is no Christ, there is no God. And there's a difference in that. So we're having a different look, and we're going to get down here in the brown section here, where he describes what he believes. He began to preach unto the people that there could be no Christ, and after this manner did he preach, saying. So we're going to go through his manner of preaching, and I'm going to go through a little bit. And then we will discuss a little more what happens next time as well. So he says, "Oh, ye that are bound down." Notice how he's making it sound like we're all bound down, and we still do that today. Watch a movie and tell me that the person that's supposed to be religion looks like he's bound down and under foolish and a vain hope. Why do ye yoke yourself to such foolish things? See how many times in a movie or shows that we watch, people treat the person that is supposed to be religious as foolish and vain, or with foolish and vain hopes, and weak. You'll be maybe you'll be surprised. Maybe you'll go, "Yeah, I know," and that's a false doctrine. Why do you look for Christ? No man can know anything which is to come. Again, he is saying that's what you'll find that almost all the time the people are saying, "Oh, you can't know that. You can't know that." We do know that. We know something. We know what we know, and you can't take that away from someone that knows it. Behold, these things which ye call prophecies, which ye say are handed down by holy prophets, behold, they are foolish traditions of your fathers. See how he's just tearing it down. How do ye know of their surety? Behold, ye cannot know of these things which ye do not see. Therefore ye cannot know there shall be a Christ. It's the argument is the same thing. It's saying, "Oh, you can't I'm going to do this scientifically, and scientifically you can't know the future, so you can't say that there's going to be a Christ." Even though science always tries to predict the future in a way, will there be sunshine tomorrow? Well, let's predict the future and say that we know pretty well that there will be or there won't be, That's the argument that Christ gave, actually. And ye look forward to say, ye see a remission of your sins, but behold, it is the effect of a frenzied mind. again, it goes to that same thing. I could swear that sometimes Hollywood just took this and said, yeah, let's do this. Okay, we're going to have a bad guy that is just got a frenzied mind, and he's going to be holding a cross, or he's going to, you know, be this religious nut. I just don't know how many times I've seen that. And if you do have a religious person that's not like that, they'll usually go in movies or something and go, yeah, I don't know exactly what I believe, but yeah, I have something that I hold on to. It's just really vague. And this derangement of your minds comes because of the traditions of your fathers, which lead you away into a belief of things which are not so. So he's really preaching against this as if there's no other way, and it's very much a proof-oriented thing, almost like I'm a scientist and this is not going to happen, sort of thing, and not taking into account some things that we will talk about either today or tomorrow. I mean, either tomorrow or the next day. And many more such things did he say unto them, telling them that there could be no atonement made for the sins of men, but every man fared in this life according to the management of the creature. Therefore, every man prospered according to his genius, and every man conquered according to his strength. And whatsoever man did was no crime. Basically, natural selection. I'm not dissing natural selection itself, because there is something in nature that is natural selection, but when you put it on mankind, that's basically what it's saying, is that man only does things according to natural selection and conquer according to their own strength. So the stronger person's going to win over the weaker person, and that whatsoever man did was no crime, because it's all nature. Anyway, that's a lot of different things, and you can just use this as a good template of what are people actually saying in this day and age, and you'll find that a lot of people are following Korihor's doctrine, and we will hear more of what he thinks about the world in the next day. Today, I just kind of want to remind us back where it said, and they obeyed the commandments and made their covenant, or their did their ordinances. When you're doing the ordinances, I hope that you're thinking about all of the love that God has for you, and that you're obeying the commandments because you know that that is what's right, and that you don't feel that you're bound down or anything like that, like this guy is saying, because it's there to give you hope, joy, as we've learned in the last week, and freedom. And with that, I'm just going to wish you a good day, and we will see you tomorrow.